welcome back to our Coded Coffee Talk. We're super excited to be here again with you, and today I have a special guest here, Michelle Benoit, and she's going to share some amazing information with us, but she is actually our current owner of our Freecoat location that is being developed here in Concord, North Carolina. Funny story about Michelle and her husband. They came out for Discovery Day to learn more about owning a clean juice franchise with us. Walked into our office here, our home office here, and saw Freecoat logo on the wall, and we started talking about Freecoat, and kind of before they left that day, they were also buying a Freecoat franchise.
So it was like,
true story.
Come in for one, leave with two.
And what I really loved was just like the kind of the light, like wow, you were like so excited to see it and to be like, what is that? And so obviously today obviously you're going to share your passion about Freecoat, why you chose Freecoat. But maybe go ahead, introduce yourself, tell us about you, and kind of your background, and just fill us in on some more about you.
Yeah, so thanks for having me here, because this is one of my favorite things to talk about. But my background, so I have worked in healthcare for 15 years now. I'm a physical therapist, and I've spent the last 9 years really working in the realm of pelvic health, both female and male pelvic health, and also in oncology. So this is really where a lot of the organic living, cleaner living, non-toxic living, this is where I've learned a lot more than I ever knew before. Yeah.
Wow. So it's interesting when you say, the oncology piece, and, that resonates with a lot of people, because most of us want to be really proactive with our health and do all the things so that we don't have to ever really go down that road. But what was it about Freecoat that kind of really plays into that whole non-toxic world, about like what is it that would attract people that maybe are struggling with illnesses and things like that? What would it be? What part about Freecoat would it be that would attract them to us?
Yeah, so here in the U.S., one of the industries that is probably the least regulated as far as what chemicals are in our products is the beauty industry. There are thousands, even tens of thousands of different chemicals that we really don't know what these chemicals are doing to our bodies over a long period of time. So the reason that they're kind of allowed to be in products is because there's not this acute toxicity of them, right? So meaning if I use my foundation or I paint my nails in the hours or days following that, I'm not going to get sick. So that's really what constitutes like the allowable chemicals in our products, is kind of that acute. But what we're finding is that there are a lot of different chemicals in our beauty products, things like phthalates or formaldehyde, that when we're exposed to these things over a long period of time, or kind of on a chronic basis, right? Think about having nail polish on your nails every day, or your shampoo or your body lotion, your deodorant, these things that you are using in small amounts but consistently every day, we're starting to see that those do have some long-term health effects. What I just mentioned, the phthalates and formaldehyde. So those are two of the kind of most toxic chemicals that we find in nail polish, for example. And those things can be linked to like respiratory problems and even cancer, reproductive problems too. So, in my world of pelvic health, and then I work with a lot of breast cancer survivors and gynecological cancer survivors, so these chemicals do play a role in some of the development of those cancers as well. Wow. So when I heard about Freecoat, thinking, wow, like this is, so we all like to look nice, right? And a lot of us like to get our nails done. And just having the option of knowing that I can go to a place that is taking care to use as toxin-free products as possible, that to me, that matters, you know. And again, just from my background of working with women who are going through all of these different issues. Again, you know, it might be cancer, but you know, maybe it's autoimmune issues, maybe it's reproductive issues, right? Because I mentioned phthalates, and so phthalates are linked to endocrine disruption, and essentially what that means is they affect our hormone levels, our hormone balance. Some of these things act like estrogen inside of our body, and so when we're exposed to too much estrogen, that's when things start going poorly for us. You know, that's when we might have to be worried about development of different endocrine cancers, like a breast cancer. That's when, you know, we might start experiencing different reproductive problems or menstrual cycle issues, things like that.
So I know, like for me, probably like for you, anything, I kind of describe it as anything that goes in my body, on my body, around my body, really needs to be the cleanest kind of possible of anything, really. I mean, no matter what it is. So I am noticing you don't have nail polish on your nails. I actually do, and it is from Non-Toxic Nail Salon. And we don't have one in the area just yet. It's in development. I won't put anything on it. I'd rather have no nail polish on. So maybe share a little bit about like what would keep you from going to another nail salon that maybe doesn't use non-toxic. Like, what is it about the environment there that would kind of turn you off and make you, you know, essentially not get your nails done?
Right. No, and you know, that's exactly what has happened. Just over the last, I really kind of dug into some of this stuff over the last 5 years. And I don't think that I've been in a nail salon for at least the last year, maybe 18 months. And the things that turn me off the most, one, I do know that the products being used, generally speaking, in most nail salons are pretty low quality. The other thing that I don't particularly care for is when you go into these nail salons, the fumes, the smell, right? So not only are we being exposed to different toxic chemicals by what is being put onto our body, but now we're sitting there and we're there maybe an hour, maybe we're there an hour and a half, and we are inhaling these fumes the entire time that we're there. What I have started to notice previously when I did still get my nails done is that the employees now in the nail salons are wearing masks. So I thought that was interesting, and I think that goes to speak to...
And that's not because of COVID.
That's right.
Because they're trying to protect
themselves. 18 months ago.
Yeah.
This is pre-COVID. Yeah, and that just speaks to, I think, the kind of the toxicity of those fumes. You know, so they're working in there 8 or 10 or whatever hours per day being exposed to this. Indoor air pollution in the way of toxic fumes and fragrances, air fresheners, like all the plug-in things, that's a real issue. You know, that's just an issue of its own. So talking about Freeco, you know, when you guys had started saying we're going to have medical grade air filtration systems in all of our Freecos, so we're going to be fume free. I mean, I thought that was incredible. You know, so I think that's just another layer of protection, really, for the employees, for the customer, that you're not going to find anywhere else.
Yeah, that's really great. And I think it's really neat too that we were providing this, like you mentioned, for employees, because people that have a passion to work in this industry kind of just maybe either unaware or just do it anyway, and they're really compromising like their health, and it could potentially kind of like shorten their life or, you know, bring illness into their body early on. So I just love that we're able to provide this to people that are passionate about serving us in that way. We all want to get, you know, our nails done and keep pretty, like you said, but it's like, you know, people are compromising their health in the environment. So that makes me like extra excited. What about, you said air filtration, maybe speak a little bit to like, you know, the sterilization, like why is that important? Like what happens if you go in and you're being kind of like handled with non-sterile instruments?
Absolutely, right? So I mean, I think that most people who go to nail salons and who get their nails done know that there's a risk, right? There's a risk of infection, whether that's like a bacterial infection from either non-sterilized tools that they're using, a risk of fungal infections, right? One of the things that kind of turned me off the most about the couple of nail salons that I was going to most recently is I felt like I always came away bleeding somewhere, you know, whether it was on my fingers or if I was getting a pedicure and you know, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm not sure if these tools are sterilized because you just came over to me and you had your little tools in your plastic little box, but I don't know if they're clean or not really, and so now you just made me bleed, and now you're continuing on, and now I'm gonna stick my foot with an open wound into this foot bath as the jets are cycling around, and having jets in a tub, whether it's your pedicure tub, whether it is a Whirlpool tub that you're using like at the gym, whether it's your spa tub at home, like wherever it is, the actual jets themselves, the crevices for the jets, are a huge harbor for bacteria and fungus and things to grow, and they don't get cleaned, you know, because they have to be taken apart. So that was just another thing. Like, you know, as you guys continue to tell us, I was like, all of this makes great sense. It's not being done, and it really is just going to add layers of protection on to the customers, to, you know, the clientele, and allow them to really feel that they are going to come away as healthy, if not healthier, than when they went in. And I don't feel that is an experience that you're getting at any other nail salon right now.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like, it's also like, it's like almost like a movement where we're shifting from, you know, eating well, but then it's so much more than food, and so much more than, you know, diet and exercise. People focus on diet and exercise, and it's so important, obviously, but there's so much more to it, because things we do on the daily or on the regular, that's not good for us, we're going to pay for it later. I know you have kids, so tell me, what would it also be, you know, I know kind of like the environment we just talked about that's not so great. Gosh, the last thing you ever want to do is like bring your kids there. You don't even want to bring yourself there. But what do you think the draw is going to be to where people are going to have this option to feel safe taking their kids, and I don't know, maybe even sometimes women that want to do self-care, they got to bring their babies along. And how would you feel about bringing your kids to a free kid?
You know, when we've kind of first started exploring all of this, you know, I really thought back to when I was pregnant, because again, you know, when you're pregnant, like sometimes you just want to go and you want to have a nice afternoon to yourself, right? Or your feet are really hurting, and so you just want to get a nice pedicure. But again, you are exposing yourself and your now developing unborn baby to all of the chemicals that are either getting put on you or that you're sitting there breathing in, you know. And so one of the most important times for us to really be aware of and really pay attention to what is coming into our body, onto our body, around our body, what we are breathing in, is during pregnancy. You know, so I think that this is going to be a great thing for women who are pregnant. Again, it's just they're going to be able to feel comfortable knowing that there is a fume-free environment, knowing that not only is the air filtration system kind of taking care of the fumes, but it's putting out clean air in general, right? With everything that's kind of going on right now, too. I think we're more aware now of just different like respiratory viruses in general. So again, in pregnancy, you're a little more susceptible to getting sick. So that's nice that you can choose to go into a place that you know that the air is going to be clean. You know that when you're dipping your feet into these basins that you don't have to worry about having, you know, coming away with a bacterial or a fungal infection or something like that. And then as far as, you know, maybe moms like taking their daughters, right? And little girls like to go and they like to do what mom's doing, and they like to get their nails done and things like that. And so small bodies like children, they're even more susceptible to kind of the toxic nature of these chemicals, right? Again, whether it's on them or it's what they're breathing in. And so I think moms are going to feel, I think moms are going to feel really a lot more comfortable taking their daughters with them, knowing that the exposure is so much lower than it would be at a traditional nail salon. They can feel good about having their daughters get their nails painted, and they don't have to worry about kind of those endocrine disrupting phthalates, for example, that are in traditional nail polish. And it's important because, again, we're really at a time where chronic disease is high, right? It's never been higher, and that includes for kids too, right? Asthma, allergies, eczema, all these things that kids have going on that are just showing that their bodies are reacting to the environment around them. Again, whether it's food or whether it's things that they're coming in contact with. And phthalates on the endocrine disrupting side, as far as young girls are concerned, we have young girls going into puberty, like girls who haven't even reached double digits yet, and that is really directly related to just the amount of endocrine disruptive chemicals that we have in our environment and that these kids are coming into contact with. So again, I think it's just like it's a win-win. Like, mom still gets to do something with her daughter, and and her little girl still gets to do what mom is doing, but it's also a teaching opportunity, right? So I think that's important too when we're talking about raising kids, is raising them to be conscious of what they're putting in their body or on their body, what they're breathing in, and just to kind of think of these things. So I think that there's a lot of opportunity there, all positive things.
Yeah, I love that. It's kind of like you want to teach your kids how to eat right.
Yeah.
And that's like so important, eat right, and how to behave correctly and things like that. And those things are like so important in life. But then like, what about like their long-term health? And they don't really even know. And anyway, and so I think that we have such an opportunity there. I'm like really excited about that. And you mentioned earlier about like working with patients and people that have illness in their body, and like we know cancer is kind of like one of those things. It's like cell disruption and breathing in things, and it just disrupts your cells and everything. So how excited are you to be able to share this with like people in your industry, around you, clients, patients, people that are just in your world, about like Freeco? Like, how exciting is that to you to be able to share this with people?
It's really exciting because I think part of what is so hard sometimes about living like this cleaner, like more organic type of lifestyle is it's just overwhelming, and you kind of think, but I like to color my hair and I like to get my nails done, right? Or I like to go out to eat. So just being able to offer a product to people where they can still do those fun things that they like to do. They can still meet up with their girlfriends and get their nails done. Again, mothers and daughters, doesn't have to be young girls, even my age, right? Can kind of still do those fun social things and know that it's good for their body, that they're not doing any harm. Someone who's going through like cancer treatment, any little bit that they can help themselves out by decreasing toxin exposures, by improving their nutrition, whatever it is, any small amount, I think that's just so special. And I think it's a hard time. It's just working with these women going through these things. A lot of times their world's turned upside down, right? So everything that kind of they were doing or that they were enjoying, all of a sudden now we're second guessing everything. What was it that caused this? Or I want to make changes, but I'm just so overwhelmed and I don't know what to do. And so being able to offer this product to say, I know that you still love beauty, like you still want to look nice, you still want your nails to look nice. Well, hey, you don't have to give that up. Like there's this, Freeco is here now, and you can still go and do those things, and it's going to be okay for your body. I see that a lot, even in teenage girls, right? So working in pelvic health, I see so much menstrual cycle disruption, and really a lot of period problems and things like that. When we kind of start peeling back the onion, if we can start to just change exposures, whether it's through food or whether it's through beauty products and personal care products, I mean, we can improve symptoms and we can kind of normalize the hormone balance for a lot of women and a lot of teen girls. And so, that just makes a huge difference in their life. So I think that's another place where FreeCode's going to be amazing.
That's great. So I have a 13-year-old daughter, and it's one of those things where she wants to get her nails done, like you're saying, like younger and younger, and want to do what mom does, and beauty's important, and we want it to be, but it's like I can remember from when she was little, it's like, oh, I just don't want her going in there. I just I felt bad enough going in myself. So it's like, it's like, no, because you just know how bad it is. So yeah, I'm really excited about that as well. Tell us, maybe talk about how you were interested in Clean Juice. Clean Juice kind of attracted you, and how do these two like complement each other? Obviously the obvious of being healthy, but like, so what was the attraction to now saying, well, I want to own a Clean Juice, and now I want to own a FreeCode? So how are they kind of like connected for you?
Yeah, no, we've been avid Clean Juice lovers for probably since you guys opened. I think we moved down here right around the same time that you guys opened, and just again over the last 5 years, like eating organic food and in making those small changes from non-organic food or from more unhealthy kind of processed food into making better choices, it just makes your body feel better, and so very much like the beauty industry, unfortunately, our food system, the big food industry, is riddled with chemical additives that really haven't been tested for safety, are actually being shown to be detrimental to our health as adults, to children's health, again, kind of going back to the whole chronic disease thing. So, eating clean food, putting clean food into your body, and just in knowing, like with Clean Juice, there's really not any other kind of restaurants that you can go to and grab something quick and that you are getting a very high quality product. And what we've loved is we love the transparency that Clean Juice offers, keeping as many products organic as you have in there, and if for some reason something isn't organic, that transparency board. I think that that's really important, and I feel the same way about FreeCode. Is it's going to be a very transparent company, letting the clients know kind of where we stand, what the values are, and that we're not going to compromise on those values. And so that was what really piqued our interest, because we've known Clean Juice, we've come to know Clean Juice, we've come to know Clean Juice owners, and now Clean Juice corporate. And so when we heard FreeCode as well, we thought, like, this is going to be incredible, because this is a company that stands on its values and does everything just in the name of the mission, and so just both of them together, I mean, it just made sense to us.
That's great. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about kind of, if you could share with somebody, why they ought to own a FreeCode. Like what was your main, I know we shared a lot about all the reasons, everything. What was your main driver of saying, I've got, you walked in this office and like, before we could get past the front door, you were just like, I gotta have that. What was be like the main driver of what really kind of like struck you and why you wanted to say, I gotta own a FreeCode?
Again, I think the beauty industry is huge, and the sheer amount of women who are affected by it, it's a huge number. And so I feel like the more FreeCodes, for example, that we can get out there, then the less exposure on kind of a large scale women are going to be putting themselves in, from a chemical standpoint and from an air fume standpoint. One of the things we didn't touch on either that I love about FreeCode is that no acrylics. So you mentioned your 13-year-old. I mean, I can think back to being in high school and my best friend and I, right, go into the mall and you go in and you got, like, when we were in high school, acrylic nails were very, very in.
Gotta have the tips.
Gotta have them. Yep. Very in. And so, I mean, here we are, right? Like, just in the prime of development, and we are in these very toxic nail salons with, we didn't know what these people were putting on our nails. Again, you're getting nicked, you're leaving like bleeding. You have, I don't even know what, between the plastics and then the acrylic and then whatever with acetone and all of it.
And so glue, and then there's weird stuff on top.
And then they shave it down. And then whatever they're spraying on you at the end, right?
And like, don't have a drink there near you because all that dust is in your drink, and then you're drinking it.
And at the time, right, those employees, this is 20 years ago, those employees, nobody was wearing masks. Oh. And you just have this cloud of acrylic dust, and you're breathing it in. Everyone is breathing it in. And you're in there every other week, right? Because then you have to get them filled after that. Yeah. And so I just... and that's just kind of like a general cleanliness too, right? Remembering back, like the film all over everything, right? It was all over your stuff when you left. It was all over the table that you're putting your body, your hands on. So I love that there was no acrylics, kind of all just like natural nails. And I think, again, on a wide scale, if we look at this like from a countrywide standpoint, the amount of young girls, of teenagers, of women that we can still offer the beauty product that they want, right, is nails. But to do that in a way that decreases exposure to toxic chemicals and toxic fumes and potential bacteria, viruses, other pathogens and things like that, from a cleanliness standpoint, I think to me that was what was the most exciting to think about.
That's great. That's really great. Just as a side note, what do you think about, obviously you're doing this with your husband, how do you feel about like men also being kind of attracted to this? Obviously men also deal with illness, and maybe they're not getting their nails polished all the time and all, but maybe even as stressed or whatever, however they use it. What do you think about, what does he think about how this can attract men and be beneficial to them?
So I did keep saying women, girls, women, but there are a fair amount of men who go and who get their nails, who get manicures. Mm-hmm. Maybe they get pedicures just for the sake of, hey, I just want to, I want my hands to be clean. I want my nails to be clean. For, maybe it's for a professional reason. Maybe they just, again, just for the same reasons we do. Right. I like how my hands look. I like how my hands feel once I get kind of cleaned up. So, he has never had a manicure or had a pedicure or anything like that.
Not yet.
But he has said, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go. So it'll be interesting. And we have 3 little boys, but it wasn't too long ago. It was probably a couple of years ago when I think my oldest had said, Can boys get pedicures too? And I said, yeah, they can. And so. Listen, like, everyone wants to be pampered sometimes.
That's right.
Everyone wants to be pampered and to relax a little bit. And so I think just this is going to be a place where families can kind of do things together, can relax together. Just talking about healthy living in general, right? Stress. Yeah. Stress is just off the charts. Yeah. Now, it was before this whole thing, right? Mm-hmm. And now that's only gotten worse. So again, anything that we can do to kind of spend time with family or friends or our children, like whatever it is, I think is going to be very special too.
That's great. Yeah. When men say like, oh, I don't, I'm like, you don't want your feet rubbed?
Yeah.
Like, everybody
you don't want hot towels?
Everybody
that's
wants
pretty
their
nice.
feet rubbed. Like, of course. Hello.
You awesome. Like cutting your own toenails? Because I don't.
Right. My dad, who passed away last year, he loved to have, just as far back as I can remember, he loved having manicures. He was a professional, he was an optician, and he was, touching people and with them, and so he always wanted his nails to be clean and manicured. He would get clear on them, and of course, always wanted to make fun of him about it, but it was really important to him. But then later he fell ill, and he was really needed to keep his toes cut so that he didn't have issues there, right? Growing and grown and all these kind of things that happen. So it was really important. And then they were like really, thick and all this. So it was more of it went from, looking good and all this into like, it was like medically necessary. Yeah. And so I think like that is something we can provide. When he would go to a not such a great option because we didn't have any, and it was concerning for him. He's like, all right, now it's not like fun and games. Now I'm kind of like,
what if I in the chair, nervous,
exactly,
right?
And needed him cut, but then at the same time, it's like, is that nail clipper actually clean? It was concerning, right? So I really love that space that we can provide for people to feel safe.
Yes, I agree. And even for me, that just another turnoff in general is just the. Sometimes like the aggressiveness, the amount of digging in things. So, I just got to the point where, why am I going to sit here for 30 minutes and I grip onto the seat and think, just please don't cut me.
Right.
Please don't let me come away with a fungal infection, and no, please stop digging at my feet. Like I just wanted it to be relaxing. And so I think, that's just another component of it.
Yeah, for sure. So I know we've talked about, kind of feels like sort of a lot of different things, everything, but there's so much obviously to share. What else, what did we not talk about that you think would be important? I know people will listen to this and, hopefully glean something about, the awesomeness of FreeCode and why they ought to be, customers of ours, but maybe possibly even bring this to their community, because like you said, like if we can get free coats all over the country and this can be an option for people, then they can shift away from just like putting their head down and hoping for the best to not get cut or whatever it is, and just like not thinking about it to just go ahead and compromise there. What else do you think would be important for people to know?
I think as far as like even just bringing this to your community, so many communities need this. Again, people in the U.S. especially have never been more sick from a chronic standpoint, not even including the virus that's going on, but from a chronic standpoint, just chronically exposing themselves at little by little on a consistent basis every day. And what is the hardest about that is making those changes in your life from the things from what you know and learning something new, and so bringing this into your community can just be one small step, one thing that you can do to help the people in your community start getting a little bit more aware of maybe, I didn't realize that there were tens of thousands of different chemicals that actually haven't been tested. And so it kind of like just, you can bring this into your community as an offering of something that is going to help and is going to promote people's health versus detract from it. And at the same time, you can offer just little like snippets of education so that people have some information where they can make better choices. And that's what limits people the most from making changes, is that you don't have the education. It's kind of like, I actually think it's two extremes. Either you just don't know, or there's so much information that you're overwhelmed, and so you just put your head back down again. And so I think that this type of nail salon, for example, or Clean Juice as well, is another great example of a place where people can go and just start to get little bits of education, kind of whatever they're ready for, right? If they're coming into your door, right, or then they're looking for that, and they kind of want that information. Something intrigued them about non-toxic, or something intrigued them about organic, And so that is one of the things that I really love about both operations, is just the ability to interact with people in the public who are kind of at a place where, okay, I'm ready to make a little bit of a change, or I'm ready to learn a little bit more. Can you help me? That kind of thing. So that's what I'm looking forward to, is on a bigger scale, kind of being able to have these conversations and then offer solutions to problems, right? Again, we all like to look nice, and we all, it's fun going and getting your nails done, as long as you're kind of not worried about getting an infection or getting cut or whatever, other than that. But, it should be fun. It should be fun. It should be relaxing, and it should be enjoyable, and it should be a place that you come out and you feel good. You're not stressed, and you don't have a headache because you've been breathing in these, crazy fumes for an hour and a half. So yeah, it should be fun.
That's great. So if somebody, when your guests come in and they are not familiar with, well, what is different? I mean, they're going to know something's different because they're going to come in. It's just going to look and feel, everything's going to be very different. And they say to you, tell me why this is different. Like, what would be kind of your short answer to tell somebody what would be different about Freecoat? Like, why should they choose Freecoat over the other nail salon down the street?
So I would tell people that you should choose Freecoat because you can be assured that when you come in here, you are doing something that is good for your body. And I know for a fact, just from experiencing it, and also from knowing more about, the products that are being used in other nail salons, that's not the case. If you go to a traditional nail salon, it's usually traditional kind of conventional products, you are gonna come away a little bit less healthy than when you went in. So that's what I would say.
That's great. That's awesome. And I think it's cool how, and you mentioned kind of changing, around, having this as an option for people really around the country, and really just making such an impact on all different communities. And I think it's cool how you represent because each one is going to be so important as we grow, as we find amazing owners like you to grow around all these communities in the country. It's you're going to make an impact right in that hometown of Concord, North Carolina, and each location as we grow is just going to be able to reach people specifically in those communities. And I'm so excited about that. And that's how we've grown with Clean Juice. We have over 100 locations where people are able to get a healthy option on the go. Healthy food outside the home.
Right. I've been, even out traveling places. I mean, I've been in Charleston, and I choose Clean Juice, just as an example, because I know what I'm going to get in the same thing is going to be with Freecoat, and it's going to get to the point too, as this brand grows. There are people all over the country who already want this type of stuff. There are women, maybe men too, who maybe used to get their nails done just like me, and now I don't go right now. I'm really looking forward to the Freecoat's opening because I could use it for sure. I'm kind of struggling with my own nails at home, but there are people countrywide who have really are taking on making choices every day to lower their exposure to all different environmental toxins, and the beauty is sometimes either they just kind of ditch it all together, or they're looking for brands and for options that are going to provide them with a product that isn't going to detract from their health. Again, just working even in pelvic health for the last 9 years, or breast oncology too, for example, with the breast cancer women. I mean, I can't tell you the number of young women, late 20s, 30s, early 40s, who, no family history of breast cancer. They're of average weight, they even exercise, but still kind of unexplained as to why they got breast cancer, and there's just a high risk with all of the environmental toxins that we're being exposed to. And you know, the same thing for the menstrual cycle problems. You know, there's just so many women that are dealing with hormone imbalances and thyroid dysfunctions, and these environmental toxins are a key player in their symptoms.
Wow, that's such great information. So before we go, maybe share what is your favorite thing? What is your favorite thing about Freeco?
My favorite thing is that I'm going to be able to get my nails done again.
I love that.
And have someone fix them up, because it's been a while. But no, I mean, really, my favorite thing is just going to be introducing this product and being able to kind of just drip on the clients as they come in, and just providing some education, informing them, because when we drip on a few people, that has this amazing ripple effect, and it's going to lead to better health and wellness for, you know, not only maybe the women and men who come in, but for their kids, for their parents, for their family members and their friends. And I think that ripple effect is going to make a big difference.
Wow, that's so great. You speak my language. I'm like so excited. You shared all that information. I think it's really going to help so many people, you know, that happen to listen to this, and not just if they want to own a Freeco, but that maybe you're going to hear it and be able to, you know, make that change in their own life that can be impacting. So, Michelle, you're awesome. Thank you so much
for having me,
for joining today and sharing all this information. It's been a pleasure hearing your wealth of knowledge that you had to share with us. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thanks everyone for joining us. We'll see you next time on our Coded Coffee Talk.